Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital Dice Podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And, Ron, we are set to go live here on YouTube as we spark it up right now. So this is
Sunday night.
This is kind of a simulcast here right now, as we're live on YouTube and Facebook. As we start year 4 of the Digital to Dice Podcast.
Hard to believe, huh?
It is. It's unbelievable that that we've got 3 years under our belt, and now we're kicking off year 4 here in 2022. This started, was it 2019?
Well, 2019. We started in July 19.
Yeah, so 19 to 20 to 21. Yep, so 4.
Yeah,
4 here already.
And by the way, the background is a live picture of the weather here.
Yeah, that's a picture outside of our houses. Did you notice my background here? I got flames and devils and flames, and then I went Vegas and Kings. I went all the hot spots I got.
In Stas. You know what? This is episode 144, which is a gross, which perfectly describes the weather outside.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. It's 95 right now, and it's 6:30.
Yeah, it is 82 up here and finally cooling off, and it's 80 degrees in here.
It is bad.
It is, yeah, and there's not enough Smucker's Jam for Willard to tell us the weather tomorrow morning.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be in the 80s tomorrow and cooling down, but here's the thing. It is the 3rd, 4th week in July. We still got another 7 days of July, and then August. If this was August, I'd be like, oh, come on, September. But no, it is really hot outside. And I was going to try to dress up and put on a nice shirt and the whole bit, but it's so hot here in the house, and it's hot everywhere. And we've had ACs going on. There's no AC on down here, but upstairs I've been trying to cool down the house. But anyway, so we don't want to keep talking about the weather, but that's why we have... We were supposed to go on Wednesday, and then it was Thursday, then it was Friday, then it was Saturday, then now it's Sunday, and it's been 90 degrees plus every single day. And now you've been baking over there because you only got that little portable AC over there.
I got a portable, and which you can kind of, if you're watching it, behind a chair, and it just... 80% of the time it keeps the room about 74, 75. I'm looking over right now, 80 degrees in here.
Yeah, then that's brutal. Yeah, it's been high 70s over here. Yeah, so anyway, thank you, Jeremy Brooks, for jumping in here. Big Polly, thank you for coming in.
Evening.
St. Patrick, thank you for coming on. He does the Sports Sim magazine. Thanks for coming in over here.
Number 9. Number 9.
Number 9. I forget which one it is, but yeah, he's been cranking those out, so that's kind of good there. Thank you for 3 great years over here, and we will and like I say, visit our website, digitaltodice.com. We just revamped the website. It's got a few more fun things on there. We'll be adding to that as we get going on. Also, Digital to Dice over on Facebook. There's a Facebook group there.
1,100 people.
Yep, 1,100 people. I remember we got excited at 200,
Yeah.
And again, if you'd like to help the show out here, it's purely voluntary. We know a lot of people, did so last year, and some people are on Patreon. But again, this just helps us because, Ron, now that we got 144 episodes, the thing is, it requires more storage space. That's the thing, is that every time we put up a new episode, it chews up our storage space, and so we
want to make sure that because people actually new people who find us.
Yeah.
Start with episode 1.
Yeah, we want to go back and we want to keep them all up, and we'll talk about that shortly. But again, if you'd like to donate on PayPal, there's the PayPal there, paypal.me/icehog. That's the name of my company, which kind of funds all this here. And I also have a Venmo over here, and again, that's my business Venmo there. If you'd like to donate any amount at all that you'd like to donate to the show. Yep. We have a Cafe Press account. You can get some cool Digital to Dice gear, so we want to show that off, cafepress.com/digital to dice. And then again, we want to thank our Patreon members here. We do have a Patreon going, and we have people that are supporting us just a few dollars a month, and that really helps pay the bills over here. It really does. So we want to thank everybody that's been doing that. Let's see here. Who else we have in the chat room? We have Midlife Crisis stopping by. He just want to say congratulations. Supposed to be over 100 tomorrow. Wow, it's 100 with you. Well, it felt like 100 over here. So, but it never really got there. So, but it's hot as blazes over here. It really is. And I'm actually looking forward to. I'm going into the hockey rink tonight. I'm refereeing an ice hockey game tonight. I'm actually looking forward to it. In fact, I might get there a bit early and just kind of chill out, figuratively and literally, you know. Steve Tower, thanks for coming by.
There you go.
Talking about the weather comes with age. Yes, happy anniversary. Yes, it's boy. I don't know what's more shocking, that 3 years zip by or that it's been 90 degrees for the last 2 weeks. I don't know which
just when we moved back to Vermont from New Mexico, we had a middle of the night flight from El Paso, which somehow reached Albany, New York via Dallas and Chicago. And so our plane took off at 3:30 in the morning. Now, in May and June of 1980, you might remember Mount St. Helens erupting, or Billy Martin, one of the two.
Yeah.
And but they had 20 straight days of 100-degree temperatures.
Oh, wow.
Now, normally in the desert, when the sun goes down, the temperature plummets 40 degrees just because there's nothing there to hold the heat in. On our way to El Paso Airport, there was a billboard that had a time and temperature clock. And so at 3:09 a.m. on June 5th, 1980, in El Paso, Texas, it was 104 degrees.
Oh.
It did not plummet that night. Now, it's true that a dry heat feels about 25, 30 degrees cooler. And so 100 feels about 75, 80. Compared to here in the Northeast where it's just wet to go along with hot. But yeah, 20 straight days of that was just about...
Yeah. I got a friend of mine that lives in Georgia, and I talk to him once in a while on Facebook, and sometimes he pops in on the videos that we do. And he used to post like the bank temperature down there, and it was like 104.7. I was like, what is that, a rock station? He's like, no, that's the temperature. So we used to always joke with him about that.
That's the tip. So, so what do you want to get into? What have you been playing?
Well, we got a couple more comments up here. Brock stopping by. Congratulations for making it this far. We hope the next few years will be just as good. Yeah, we hope so. We hope it's going to get easier. You know, we hope that we're kind of up to speed and we're getting going here. And
we've done this a couple times, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and we'll talk about some of the things. We did talk about in the last podcast about like the last 3 years, wrap it up. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but we want to talk about going forward here in this one here. Mark stopping by. Thank you, Mark,
Mark, thank you.
For 3 years. Yep. New member here, Ben, coming by. I can't tell if he's playing a guitar or a guitar or some kind of crazy thing in that picture there, but it looks pretty cool. That should be on
does look very cool.
It should be on a Metallica album. It really should be. Congrats on the anniversary. Thank you so much. Let's see here. David stopping by. Thank you, David. Joining the channel, the website, and D2D membership. Yeah, he's one of our Patreon. Thank you so much, David, for helping us out with the show. And Steeler fan coming by.
How you doing, Matt?
He's a big sponsor of Spiders Baseball. When we do our Spiders Baseball, we always have a good time doing Spiders Baseball here on the channel.
The Buggy Whips.
And actually, getting back to Steve Tower, he had a baseball update the other day, and he actually mentioned Spiders Baseball on his baseball update. So go check out Steve Tower's After Further Reviews channel over there, and he talks about some baseball.
Think of it this way: we did the math once on the attendance for the Spiders in 1899. Which I think averaged to 157 a game. And I think I joked at that point that my high school basketball program averaged more than that for the boys.
Oh, yeah.
Even the girls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was.
You, by the time that you're done with whatever projects you're doing with the Spiders, may have outdrawn on YouTube what the Spiders drew in real life.
That's pretty wild, huh?
That's crazy.
It was fun. It's fun doing the Spiders. It really is. And I want to thank John, who just sent us $20 on the Venmo. Thank you so much. And again, the Venmo over here is this right here. If you just like to help donate to the show, so we can pay some of the bills here. And again, PayPal is here. And then our Patreon here. We like to thank our Patreons who are donating a few dollars each month, just to keep us going, to keep the lights on, so to speak. And we're having a fun time. It's good to you doing well.
Thanks,
Steeler
Matt.
fan. Robbie, thanks for stopping by.
Hello, Robbie.
Yep. Now, this is going to be a regular podcast, too. So we're just reading some of the comments here off of YouTube here. So what we like to do on some of these special events is record the podcast and do it live at the same time. So while you're watching live, it might be kind of weird because we're going to be podcasting, and if you listen to the podcast, there's some things you won't see here. So just bear with us as we try to have fun tonight as we get going here in year 4 of the show. Let's do just a quick rewind of 3 years. What are some of the things that stick out to you over the last 3 years?
Well, we've had some great interviews. I think for me, we're talking about this. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, cool it down a little bit. Actually, you know something? I have. How about this? A little bit of snow. How about the snow? Will that cool us down? I feel cooler already. I really do.
Oh yeah. So the background for those listening is changed to The Empire Strikes Back, which that was filmed in Finns, Norway.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is the highest point on the major rail line between Bergen on the west coast and Oslo, the capital.
Yeah.
And so that's just such a cool part. It's like, no, it's the planet Tatooine. No, it's Norway.
Oh, Hoth. Tatooine is the desert one. Hoth is the cold one. So
3 years. I think along with you, because when we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, that I've kind of gone from playing more digital games to more dice-based games or open-engine-based games.
Really? Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with a computer-based game, but I think just the kind of the creativity and the immersion that, for me, that comes with playing an open-engine game. I mean, let's face it, for me, it's all about computer-based something or another. I've kind of rediscovered that because of the show, just because of what you talked about and what other people have talked about. And so I guess that would be, the one big thing would be that.
Yeah, I think for myself, trying out other games, giving games second chances, as we talked about, I think the biggest thing was growing as a gamer. Us growing and maturing. And, there's things that we kind of dissed, or I dissed, or you dissed, or we both dissed kind of. And then when we get into it, or I get into it, let's say, I really enjoyed the game. It's like, holy cow, I gave this game a second chance, or I gave this game a fair shake, or whatever it is. And I find myself really enjoying it. And I can list a handful of games that I kind of was like, I'm never going to play that. That looks stupid. That looks too hard. Or that looks like it's not fun. And then I got my hands on it. I was like, oh my gosh, these are so fun. I got to honestly say that in the last 3 or so years of doing the show and playing the different games, and then the one thing that this show has done is it's really opened us up to a ton of games that, at least myself, I never would have known.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Because, not only are new games getting created by new people all the time, excuse me, but there's some games I didn't know much about that after doing this and talking to people and seeing what people play, I investigated, and I found a whole vein full of games, and I'm mining these games, like and all the ores coming out, and the little cave drilling reference there. I was playing a cave game today. That was kind of fun.
Wow.
And I found the whole game, all these different games I never would have found if I wasn't doing the podcast. And conversely, we talk about these games, and we've introduced people to a whole bunch of games that they never would have known. So, so for me, it's kind of, like I say, growing and trying new things and being more patient and giving things a second chance and not being so quick to dismiss a game, So, so that's kind of what it was with me, and we've met so many great people along the way.
Oh, goodness gracious.
We've talked to so many people along the way, whether it's, we have them on the show or whether we talk to them on Facebook or on the text line or anything like that. We've met a lot of really, really great people in this industry, and we continue to talk to them on a regular basis,
Between game creators and those who've done magnificent replays to some Hall of Famers and to the last interview we did was from the WHA book, Scott.
Yeah. Yep, Scott. Yep.
And probably introduced him to this type of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who deal with this stuff all the time and may not realize these games exist.
But what's neat about that interview was here was someone not in the gaming world, had no idea what we were all about, and we contacted him and talk about his book for an hour here on the show, and unbeknownst to him, there's a handful of people who have already purchased his book to look up WHA stats to play in their replay. And this is something he probably never considered.
No.
He probably never considered someone's playing a WHA hockey game and wants to know who played in the game and what the teams were. He's just doing it for nostalgia, for, just to have a complete history of it. And here's our community, and like, boy, this is a great resource. And so that was a fun conversation. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Of course, Steeler fans got to bring up the banner attacking Ron, which is going to be your swan song. It just is.
Yeah, you know what? It's been held up by 5 thumbtacks over here.
Yeah, so you got rid of the CBS one though. That was the one that concerned me because that was the bigger one.
It fell was what happened, and you got to the ABC Sports banner is an indoor banner, and I think the CBS one is an outdoor banner, and so it's big.
Yeah,
it's big.
Replay Gamer stopping by. Good to see him. Here's another one. Another gamer in person that we met along the way of Digital to Dice. It's got his own channel going, and it's I've had him on a chat here, and it's people like that really make the community here. It really does. It was great, and finally meeting him and talking to him and following along with his stuff. And here's another one, Christopher Slovic. Here's another one.
Yeah.
And he says he can sit back and watch. Now, he's thinking of Norway when he sees Hoth. Yes, he does. That's good.
Yeah. It's one of those strange things about the internet that you find out.
Yeah. Ben brings up this in the chat here. It's not just tabletop games you get us into. You guys open my eyes to the world of hockey. And, and for me, it was baseball. You guys kind of got me into baseball. There's all kinds of baseball games out there. And for me, it was, I knew once I get into baseball, once I cracked that open, it was going to be a Pandora's box of baseball. And it has been, because I'm a hockey guy and a football guy. And so I'm happy that I've helped people, with APA hockey or shootout hockey or whatever it is that I play for hockey games, or even Hockey Bones most recently. But
even basketball for you. You're the one that brought regular season basketball.
Yeah, I suppose I kind of did that when I found that game there and reviewed it and did the video and talked about it. So that kind of revived that a little bit for Marco. That's a fun game. That's a great basketball game. And I'm surprised that it wasn't out there when I, I don't want to say I discovered it per se, but, I stumbled on it and played it. And I was like, wow, this needs to be seen. The
idea of putting a basketball game together like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. You get the scores and then you put the stats together. It's a great idea.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess, it's been fun meeting a lot of people on the way. Sadly, we have lost some people along the way, too.
Yes.
And that's a sad thing that, there's some people we lost touch with, there's some people who have passed away. And so it's bittersweet, when you start hitting milestones,
It's an older community and, but their contributions have not been forgotten.
No. So we've had a few of those, unfortunately. Even myself over here, in my house, we lost a dog during the pandemic, and recently we gained a dog, and so it's just been really, it's just been one of those things that it's just, life goes on, so to speak, and you take the good with the bad, and
right.
And here we are, starting year 4 of the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 years are gone. That's the crazy thing. It's 3 years are in the books. I mean, it doesn't feel like 3 years. It really doesn't. It feels like 1 or 2 tops. It's like, where did the time go?
Sometime in February, I hit 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. And that just blew me away. Now, most of that's games, and most of that is playing baseball games. But just the thought of that, just like, wow.
Yeah. And Big Paulie brings up the daily chats during the pandemic, which was, I think, from April to May of 2020. So that was
about 6 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, that was 2.5 years ago. And we did every night for 6 weeks. That was every night for 6 weeks. And that's why I use the StreamYard. That's why I have the paid version here of StreamYard that I use because we couldn't go live every night unless I bought it, so I had to buy it, and I still pay for it every month so I can do the broadcast.
You use it a lot, though.
I use it a lot. I use it for things like this. Sometimes I just do my own chats and whatever. So we do it all there. 35 Productions, Ray over there.
Ray.
Thanks, Ray. Ray's got his new podcast up and running, Around the Layout. If you like train podcasts, if you like to talk about model railroading or anything like that, search out Around the Layout. That is his brand new podcast. He's been at that a couple of months now. So that's
yes, he has.
So I mean, that's not anything new. I mean, it's new, but it's not brand new anymore. So he's been doing quite well with that. In fact, he was looking at he's using Spreaker as well. He's looking at statistics. He's doing better than we were after 10 episodes. He's getting
more people into model railroading than there are these type of games.
You wonder because he's like reading off his stats. I'm like, holy cow! It took us like 70 episodes to get up that high, you know. But so congratulations to him. Scoop says he likes our advice before buying a game.
Nice.
And I mean, we do some reviews from time to time and first looks. You know, I think that kind of goes with the territory. We don't want to be a game review channel, so to speak, but I think it just kind of goes with the territory of playing these games. So I think that's how that goes. But thanks for coming by. Zalapsky Smurf.
Hey!
Stops by.
I haven't seen in a while.
To say congrats. Thank you there, Mr. Smurf, for stopping by. Jeff Hunter stopping by.
Hi, Jeff.
Thanks for coming by here in year 4. And Steeler fan was collecting some of his father's belongings that he met his wife's son, and he turned out he played Spadamatic in the 70s. That's kind of cool.
Oh, that's great, Matt.
And they want to get together and play some games, so that's a great story there. Glenn stops by. Nice picture of the dog there that he's got right there. I can't tell if the dog's squinting or smiling or something like that. It's kind of funny. But so just kind of wrapping up 3 years. It went by really fast. There was a time that we didn't think we were really going to make it because we started this in 2019 before the craziness. And then the craziness happened. We didn't know what was going to happen. I was unemployed for a long while. It really tested my mental fortitude, if you will, this whole thing here. And even now, it's still not quite back to where it was, but we got through it. We did the show. And it's interesting to hear the people that go back. And that's why we keep the episodes up. All the episodes are still up. And that's why it costs us so much every month to buy the storage to keep the episodes up. Because people go back and listen to them. And every once in a while, someone will send us a message and say, I went back and listened to the stuff that you guys did during the height of the pandemic and the shutdown and stuff. And that's something one day I'd like to go back and listen to, too, just to see how we must have been talking really different back then. It was a different time.
Absolutely. I didn't even get a shirt for surviving COVID, by the way. I want my T-shirt.
Yeah, you got one there. You know, remember when that came out? We were really nervous about what was going to happen if you got COVID. You know,
right?
But you got that extra large enema, and that just cleared you out, and the COVID just went right out of you, and you were so much better after that.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. I got my enema from Aunt Becky.
The Aunt Becky. That we did Aunt Becky back in the day. She'll make an appearance from time to time. No, she really will.
I wonder how much she charges to appear on Cameo.
I don't know.
It pays off the library that she bought at USC.
This is true. But all right, so let's talk going forward. All right, so let's talk going forward. So, and I'm just going to put up some of the again to people that are just joining us here. Again, we feel free. This is completely voluntary. If you'd like to donate to the channel and to the show to help us continue going, you know, we do have the monthly fees with StreamYard and Spreaker and a few other things that we got to do. So it would just help us pay those things instead of paying out of pocket. That's all. So this is a couple way to do it. If you like some digital to dice gear, again, Cafe Press, you can pick up a shirt, a hat, a coffee mug, or a few things like that. Yeah, and that just helps support the show as well. And then again, we have our Patreon. And if you join the Patreon, we have I think it's a $3 and a $5 tier. And the $5 tier, you can come into the Discord and chat with us in Discord. And we do some special monthly Patreon events. We're behind because of the heat and COVID, so sorry. We still owe you for June, even though we're at the end of July. But we haven't recorded. It's just been so hot. It's just been so hot. It's just been miserable. We want to do good shows for this stuff here. We really do. So anyway, there. Glenn says he misses the Aunt Becky jokes. They'll make a comeback. I know they will. They'll make a comeback at some point there. And you know what I miss before we get on to year 4? What I miss is when we did the first 99 episodes. It was the,
Oh, we had a name for every number.
Every number we had a show. I forget when we started that, but it was like, here's the Larry Bird show, and here's the Wayne Gretzky show, and here's this show. And, every time we would have to look up the numbers before the game. Okay, who's a number 72 that we can use?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we tried to roll the numbers of the show into a famous or at least one or two well-known athletes that we would all know. And then we get to 100. It's like, what do we do now?
Out of numbers, yeah.
It's like, we didn't think that far. That's the thing.
Apparently now at 144, we've reached Red Sox pitchers at ERAs.
Yeah. Well, it's like, with my hockey league now, we're going into year 23. Why did I think that when I started this in 1999, I'd be doing this 23 years later? I didn't think like that. You don't think not that, but that's not.
You wanted to go for a while, but yeah.
It was about 6 or 7 years ago. I got a big cup type thing at Home Depot, and I painted it silver, and I printed out little things and stuck them onto the cup, so I have all the names of everybody that won it going back to 1999, right, on this huge cup that we have when we had the championship. And I haven't updated it since before the COVID, so I'm 3 years behind. And so I started to look at what space was left in the cup, and I got space for about 10 more teams, and I think I have 20 championship teams. So I got no more room in the cup. What do I do? I mean, seriously, I didn't think that far. I bought this thing thinking I could put everybody's name on it, and this would get me through whatever, and it's full.
Have you seen, it's an illustration because they can't do it for real. It would be too big. Because they had to take off parts of the Stanley Cup every 2 years just because.
Oh, yeah.
But there's one picture drawing I've seen of what the Stanley Cup would look like if every.
Oh, yeah.
It is like 3 times the size just because of that. Because it goes back to, 1894?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it'd be huge. Probably be taller than my house. You know what I mean?
I think it would be 10 feet or something like that.
Oh, would it be? Yeah.
Yeah, So you got to add something to the bottom of yours to get all 20 teams on there.
I thought about doing a wooden base or something like that, where we could mount to the wooden base, and that would give me more room down there. But that thing's kind of heavy. To add a wooden base, it's like, I don't know. So I might have to do a second one of those, but I like bringing it to the rink and having every name on there because people will look and find their name from 10 years ago or something like that.
It's very cool.
So it's just, but what do you do when you're out of space? So.
My high school, if you won the state championship in a given sport, everyone that was on the team got their name sewn on the pennant or the banner, and it was hung in the gym.
Oh, nice.
Now, it was a relatively new school when I was there. It had only been around 20 years. I'm not sure what they've done in the last 20 years. But yeah, it was quite cool because when I was there, my junior year, the boys basketball team won. So it was all kids that you knew, friends that you had. And so, yeah.
Again, like I said, our new website, digitaltodice.com. We redid that so you could go and find some things a little bit quicker. And so we used to just point it to the Spreaker and all the shows. Now we have a central hub. Actually, that was Ray's idea, actually, from around the layout. He did that with his. And, boy, I said, I kind of like that. Yeah. I said, Ray, I kind of like that, what you're doing here. You have a central hub. So that way you can put notices up, too, on the website and the whole bit and, pictures of things. And, so I imagine, we'll be doing more of that there on the website as well. So I kind of like the idea of doing a central hub and then linking to the shows and the whole bit. So that's what you can find on the website over there. All right, so again, looking ahead to year 4. So we want to ask you guys here, live in the chat room, maybe watching on YouTube later or listen to the podcast. What would you like in year 4 of Digital to Dice? Going forward, what are some of the things that you like and you like us to continue, or maybe something we should do more of, or some things we maybe never thought of? What are your thoughts on that? Because a lot of what we do is driven by the community.
Exactly.
Let's just get that out there, okay? That there's a lot of things that we do that we start thinking about topics, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, so and so, blah 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 blah, so and so, and they had this, and I'm like, yeah, I like that. Someone ran it. Maybe I had something that I posted and someone commented, and it's like, boy, that would be a neat discussion to have. Is that right there? So
we've talked to gamers, we've talked to game designers, we've talked to Dave Cook, we've talked to OOTP a couple times.
Yep. So we'd like to know what things you would like more in the future. I mean, we try not to make it a game review channel, although if we do get a game, we do like to talk about it because that's kind of important and that, And I know we have our own YouTube channels and our Twitch channels that kind of handle a lot of that heavy lifting and stuff, and it's easier for that. But, we do talk about that stuff on the show. I'm trying to think going forward what I would want to add or change to the show. I think I like the idea of adding more of the community people, getting them on the show and getting their stories. Because as great as it is getting the developers on, we get a lot of feedback when we have, I don't want to say our regular Joe on. That's not a fair assessment. But when it's just somebody like us who just plays the games and hasn't really designed much or whatever, and they tell their story. And we get a lot of feedback because sometimes the story is the show. How they got from A to B or what their particular thing was, that makes the show. And it kind of goes off in a direction that we weren't expecting. It's like, wow, that was fantastic only because of our guest.
Yeah, I enjoyed the authors.
Those
were fun because you didn't know how they were going to approach it. I mean, our Spiders guy plays these games, so we kind of knew what he was getting into when we interviewed. But yeah, because you never know what. Go back to the Steve Tower interview. I didn't realize that he did not grow up playing these games. Mm-hmm. That he came to these games kind of late.
Right.
Oh, okay. And so those sort of stories.
Yeah.
And there are legends over on the Delphi forums who post all these great replays and ideas. The ideas that stem for you guys out there, but for us on what we want to play too. Like, oh yeah, well I did A, B, and C, and this is that.
Right. Jeremy says here in the chat his favorite segment each week is what we played the last week, and I got to say, Jeremy, that was the one thing that I kind of insisted on when we did the show, because we when I did the Game Hounds for 10 years or whatever it was, that's one thing we did, and I think it's important to talk to the audience about what you played and the experiences you had. Not that the show's about us per se, but when I used to listen to a lot of video game podcasts, and my favorite part of the show was what they played and what happened when they played it. So if someone says, hey, I just played the new NHL game, and boy, I found it really fun that you can do this. And I'm like, ooh, maybe I need to check this out, Or if someone says, hey, I'm playing Skyrim, let's say. Now, Skyrim's my favorite game. And someone says, I'm playing Skyrim again, and I'm starting as a whatever kind of character here, and I find that you can do all this fun stuff. And I'm like, wow. Okay, I play Skyrim, and I never did that character, so maybe that's something I need to check out. So when we talk about what we're playing, it's a very relatable segment of the show, and that was one thing I kind of insisted on when we did this, because that's what I want to hear. When I listen to other podcasts, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, I want to know what somebody's playing, and because I can relate to that. And maybe they found a new game, or maybe they found a new way to play a game, or maybe there's something else going on that I don't know how else to say it, but it's just, I find it very interesting, and that's what I want to hear. Because there's been some shows where people just talk about, let's just talk about the news, or let's just talk about something else. And I'm like, I'd rather hear what you're playing and what happened in your game. And, did you go into a cave and find a sword? You know what I mean? Or did your game have a problem, and how did you fix it? And these are things I can relate to. And so that segment there, Jeremy, I think we're always going to keep that. And sometimes sometimes we go a little bit longer, sometimes we go a little bit shorter, depending on the week. But I think it's important to let people know what we're playing and our experiences with the game. Have we played anything new, or are we just so stuck on a certain game that we just love this game here and it's growing on us? And I think that's a big part of the show, and that will stay.
I don't want to watch a cooking show where the cook doesn't eat what he's made.
That's a good way of putting it too. Yeah.
if you're making pasta, if you're making pizza, I want to see you eating some of the pizza, even if there's pineapple on it.
And there's the wife upstairs is watching on Facebook there.
No one's on, but that's it, Sharon. Sorry, Mimi.
I think we're mostly on YouTube. We're on Facebook too, but I think most of the viewers are on YouTube right now.
And so I think kind of
that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, because we play these games,
right?
And so we're not just talking about them; we're playing them. And that's something I didn't think of there, but that's a really great way of putting it.
I mean, there's a couple up in Ontario that does a cooking show that Sarah and I will watch every once in a while, and at the end of it, after he's made the dish, they eat it. Yeah. So it's all food that you like, and I think you want to be if you're doing a show like this about a hobby, you want to be hands on with it.
Yeah, and that's a really good point because how many times have you seen a reporter show up somewhere and cover a story, and they don't have any idea. They're reporting on it, but they don't have any idea what's going on, whether it's a sport or whether it's an event, and it's just kind of like, here's so-and-so coming in, and all the makeup's on, and he or she has the mic, and, hey, let's go here, and I'm going to pretend I know everything about this, and I don't know, I really don't know anything about it.
And it's so clear that when they're interviewing somebody that they have no clue. Like the producer's done his or her homework, but the reporter is just there to look pretty. And it's...
Yeah, no, we're pretty hands-on with the stuff we play. And most of the time, our topics come from the community or something that happened in our game. Where something will happen with Ron's game, and he'd be like, man, this, that, good or bad, and we talk about it. Or me, something happens good or bad. It's like, wow, Ron, I started playing this game, and I'm blown away by it, and we need to talk about, first impressions, last impressions, so all these topics happen while we're playing these games. Let's see here. Sean comes in. Thanks for coming by, Sean. Enhancing your card and dice and digital experience and interacting in the community along these lines. Yeah, so, this is what we're going to do. Yep, we're going to continue to do that. We want to continue enhancing our experience. In fact, growing as gamers, I don't think if I didn't do this show, I would not be playing. Nearly 75% of the games I play now are because of the show.
You and I definitely get out of our comfort zone as far as what we would play.
And well, the show pushes us to do that.
Absolutely.
Because I can't get on here and say, guess what? I just played Hockey Bones all week. And you're like, yeah, I just played Strat PC basketball all week. Great. That was fun. So we have to be pushed to play other things so we can talk about it on the show. It's kind of... It's the good and bad, though, because sometimes I really want to play this, but, man, if I don't play something else, I'm going to have nothing to talk about, and I need to really spread it around and play different things so I can get the different experiences.
I read a lot.
Are you going to do a podcast on reading?
A podcast on reading. It was the best of times, and with Gardner for the last 3 years.
On page 82, I broke down in tears on page 82.
You remember the episode of Friends when Joey reads Little Women?
No, I didn't really watch that show.
And so Joey, the kind of the dumb male character on the show, Mike from the Truck, how are you? They got him to read Little Women.
Oh, really?
Apparently, the lead character in Little Women doesn't make it to the end of the book.
Oh.
And so there's a couple scenes when Joey realizes that they're going to Old Yeller this female character. She died. So, yes.
Oh, that's too bad.
Anyway.
Back to the chat room. Replay Sports Channel says, congratulations, Ron and Dave, on 4 years of Deal to Us. Yep. Well, it's 3 years, but we're starting 4.
We're starting our 4th year.
And I think... technically, we are in year 4, right? Because I think it was right about this time, 7/22, 7/23.
Yeah, mid-July was our 4th year. Anyway, to get back to the reading thing, is that I read through the Delphi boards almost daily.
Oh, nice.
And so to get ideas and new games and see how Ice Hog behaves with his fellow gamers on hockey boards and all that.
I like to follow along on the Delphi too. When someone's playing Hockey Bones, and I just started playing that, so I'm kind of really active on the PT Games Delphi group, and they're playing a Cleveland Barons replay, and I'm following that, I go in there and I follow along and I read it and I chime in and I say, oh, this is great. And Dennis Marouk scored with 10 seconds left to give the Barons the win the other night. And I'm following along. It's like, that is great, because it's a game I enjoy. It's a team that was, they're gone now, but I enjoyed watching the Seals go to the Barons. And it's just fun that someone will play a team like that, something that I'm interested in, Let's see here. Oh, let's get back to some of the things here. Lower, slower, bored gamer.
Tabletop Chris.
Yep. I've been watching them playing with IDs. They've been playing some really cool stuff.
Yes, they have.
And stuff that I wish somebody local would play with me. I love playing those big board games where they're spread out everywhere.
Do you not have any game stores in your area?
We do. And there's one in here. There's not one in town, but there's a place you can go and play games in town. I should say that. It's more of a bar with a little room that you can play games. There's one across the street from Hockey Town. And they have events once in a while. I went to one that was about a half hour away. Me and the wife took a ride one day. I think it was actually during the COVID thing. And they opened up, and they were doing most of these places, they have a little storefront, and then it's divided in the back. It's all these tables. Okay,
that's how we used to do it when I worked at the store.
And so we walked in, and they were all going to the back, and like, you guys can stay and look around. If you need anything, let me know. But we're having a gaming event here. You think they might have said, you guys interested in joining us? You guys want to see what it is we do? You guys interested in being gamers? No, they're not interested in new people at all. I was taken back by that.
Really?
I was shocked. I was completely shocked. I'm like, I would like to stay and see what they're playing. This could be fun to sit in and watch them play. Something new that we can do once a month. Come up here and hang out, and it's like, I can't believe that. And every time we looked in the room, no one even looked at us. It was like we weren't even there. They weren't rude, and they didn't kick us out. But it was like, yeah, we're having a little club meeting over here. So if you need anything, let me know. But you stay there, we'll stay here. And it's just like, wow, just a little like, want to see what we're playing? Or, hey, come on in, you guys. Sometimes you go in and people are like, hey, good to see you. It was not that way at all. It was just like, wow, we weren't even there. So, yeah, so I was pretty bummed out.
Where I used to work, sports store, we did Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments, card deck tournaments. And it was kids, teenagers, awkward teenagers, and that would spend a boatload of money at our store. So we gladly took them in. But no, the whole point was to try to get, attention to our store, that it wasn't just Dallas Cowboys stuff or Boston Red Sox or Oreo stuff that we have. They've changed the picture in the background. But again, to just try to build that community. And after a while, you knew the 20 kids that would come in. Every once in a while, there'd be a new kid or a new teenager that would do it. And they all helped each other. But I can't imagine. That's the whole point of doing that in public.
Yeah, I thought for sure that we were going to be there all day watching them play this game, and it might have been kind of fun, even if we didn't play, just to watch and learn. No,
I would think so.
I thought it was really kind of crazy to do that. Jeremy says he likes the weather talk. He likes hearing about the weather. As stupid and as boring as that sound, we did that on the Game Hounds. It was fun because they were in California and I'm in Boston, and so we would compare weather. And their weather was always like 68 and nice, and my weather was 90 one day and snow in the next. So they got a kick out of that. But I think it's just fun. Just it's not. We don't do it all the time, but it's just a talking point. Hey, what's the weather out there? We're hot. We're cold. We got a thunderstorm coming in. It's just. I don't know. It's something we do real quick, and I think it's just kind of fun.
Yeah.
To talk about that. Tommy Ballgame stopping by. Would it be possible for once a month, say, if you guys do a live head-to-head game like Strat Baseball or AC Baseball Live? Yeah, we had talked about that. We had talked about doing that, whether it's on the channel or whether doing a Patreon event or something like that. We did talk about, playing some games head-to-head. In fact, we were supposed to do something, I said last week. Yeah, we were supposed to play some golf last week, and that fell through. But, we'll definitely do something like that. I tried to make up for it by playing golf with Ron and myself, the created players, and was it ASG Golf? I think is what I did. ASG Golf. Yeah, Ron actually won. He's 2-0. He's beat me now in both events.
I haven't even swung a club yet.
Yeah.
I've won.
Yeah, I let the computer play Ron the last time, and that was kind of fun. Jeff's stopping by. Good evening, guys. Congratulations.
How are you?
Thanks, Jeff, for coming by. And, all right, so Steeler fan comments here. I like hearing how you guys get into the hobby and when. Maybe you could try doing short interviews with regular community members, not necessarily creators, and feature some of their stories. Yes, that's what we talked about.
Some of that.
Yeah, we're going to do more of that. We're going to get more people on. And, again, that's what my buddy Ray does with Around the Layout podcast. He talks to just people who do the layouts with their model trains.
Again, that's a hands-on type of deal. What do you feel about the hand wiring, this and that and the other thing? So
so I really like to talk to people like that, you know.
And I think we should take full credit, Dave, for getting Tebow in the Hall of Fame after his interview.
Yeah, we'll get to Tebow in 1 second. So Glenn writes in, Dave, if you had a ball game where a team scored 28 runs like Toronto did against the Red Sox the other night, you jumped on to talk about, that was not, I was sitting there in bed with the AC on because this has been so hot out, and somebody on Facebook said something about the Red Sox being a joke, and then someone else put 25. I'm like, that can't be 25 runs. And I went over to Yahoo Sports on my phone. I was like, it was 25 runs. In like the 6th inning or something like that. I was like, holy cow. Yeah, that was just a nutty. They happen, you know. And here's one of the things. Now, if you took those teams and tried to replay that game, you would not get 28-5. You'd never get it. That's one of those flukes. And we all love doing that. Because I know I've played the Wayne Gretzky Mickey Mouse game where the Oilers beat the Devils 13-5. I played that, and the Devils almost won it. The Oilers got 2 late goals to win it by 2, I think. But the Devils were winning that game. In a game that they gave up 13 goals, that didn't happen. So someone's going to try to replay that game when that season comes out, unless it's already out on something. And it's not going to be anywhere close to 28-5.
No, you can never do that.
You know.
YouTube versus Facebook. There you go. Mike from the truck again.
Oh, he's back on YouTube. Yeah, the feed on YouTube is much better than the feed on Facebook. It's just kind of how it is. So if you're watching on Facebook, you might want to zip over to my YouTube channel, Dave Gardner Videos, and check that out. And here's the man we were talking about. Tebow stops in. Jules Tebow, great run of 4. Keep up the great show. Thank you. Thanks to Dave for everything I do for the community is kind of what he wrote in. Is that right, Ron? Is that right?
No, it says all.
He said all? Did he say all? I thought he said Dave. I thought he said Dave.
Said all. No, it didn't.
So Tebow was inducted into the Apple Hall of Fame. That is fantastic that he get in there. And again, it was him. It was him that got me in back into Apple hockey.
Yes.
Is I had played a little bit of Apple hockey and having fun with it, and then all of a sudden it was his video, and it was Ron pointed that out. Ron's like, Dave, go check out this video that Tebow did. And I was like, okay, what's up with that? And so I checked it out, and he was doing a hockey video for Apple Hockey, and just how he did it, a couple of things that I was hung up on made so much sense. And I was like, I got it now. I got it. That makes so much sense now. I get what he was going for, and the things that hung me up didn't hang me up anymore. And then I took that and I just kind of ran with it. And then I get back into the game and I started enjoying the game. And so it was Tebow that got me into the Apple hockey and back into it and the whole bit. In fact, it was Tebow that sent me Apple baseball. And I think he sent me some Apple football, too. And I started playing the Apple baseball, and I was like, wow, this is great. And so then I ordered, a couple more seasons of Apple baseball, and now I'm playing Spiders baseball and Apple baseball at $18.99. So again, the community has really helped us, learn new games and get back into it. And that's the great thing about talking to the people in the communities, because they're going to have different experiences. And how many times Hockey Unreal, who's probably going to listen to this, Hockey Unreal saying, Dave, you got to try Hockey Bones. You're going to like Hockey Bones. I know the videos confuse you, and I know it looks confusing. Hockey Bones is easy. You're going to really like Hockey Bones. And he kept saying that and saying that and saying that until finally I said, okay, I'm going to pull out the directions. And I read them one night, and it says, wow, these are really not as bad as I thought. And I played it, and in 10 minutes, I'm like, I had 90% of the game down in 10 minutes. I was like, wow. Yeah, and he just kept on me about Hockey Bones, and it worked out really well. So that's the great thing about the communities. Everybody supports each other. You might not like the game now, maybe you will down the line. And there's been a few people that said, hey, I didn't like this game, and I started listening to the podcast, and you guys were talking about it, and next thing you know, I gave it a try, and it just kind of, for whatever reason, after listening to you talk about it or watching you play it, it kicked in, and it made a lot more sense. And so, but it goes both ways, people. Yeah. We might help you out, but you help us out too. And
for sure.
And so that's what I really like about that.
Sure.
Let me see. And engaging strangers can make a huge difference. And that's from Lower Slower.
To our bank accounts, yes.
No. Jeremy says he's Canadian, so talking about weather is a hobby for you guys. Yeah.
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 Thanks for poutine, by the way.
Yeah. Bernard stopping by.
Hey, how you doing?
Good to see Bernard coming in here. And this morning he played Action PC Protection 2022 game for today. Toronto 18, Red Sox 1. Oh, okay. So that was pretty close, Bernard. That's pretty close. Yep.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Wow.
Jeff, what do you got to say? That video of you, Tebow, and ID did on Apple Hockey, followed by got you hooked on Apple Hockey. Oh, good, yeah. Well, that was a great conversation because it started off me and ID and myself, and then we invited Tebow, and Tebow came in, and the three of us had a really, really good Apple Hockey discussion, and it really clarified a lot of things for me and even for ID, and it just turned out, I just kind of ran with it because it's hockey, and it's like, boy, I just saw the potential in this game, so I had a really, really fun time with that. And then Tebow tried to show ID Apple football. And to this day, one of my favorite ID videos is that
he never played it down on that game.
It's the Super Bowl, the Apple Football Super Bowl on the ID's channel, where he said, "He goes, all right, I'm going to play some football here. I got Tampa Bay and Kansas City. Why do I have all these cards? I'm not going to use all these cards. I only need the quarterback and the running back and the receiver and the kicker. I'll sell you all these cards for $10. You can take all these cards. I don't need them." And he went off, and he never kicked off. He never even kicked off the Super Bowl. Oh, that was great. It was all in good fun. You know what I mean? But it's just I could see the frustration because I've done that myself in games. I've had my frustrations, especially with golf games. And people try to talk me off the ledge. People try to say, "Hey, Dave, you got to think this way and think that way." And it's like, look, it just. Sometimes a game it gives me fits. There's 3 or 4 games in my arsenal that give me fits. And I still play them from time to time, and I still have fun with them, but
Action PC Golf is number 1.
I get to a point where it just gives me fits. It does. I just like, wow, this is just frustrating the heck out of me, and just the fun factor. We had a show on the fun factor, and it's just the fun just went out of this game all of a sudden, And it's not necessarily the game, maybe it's something that I did or whatever, but it just whatever it is, it just gives me fits, and it just happens. But I still go back and I play it. I still do, and people get mad at me when I go on my rants. They're like, "Oh, blah blah blah." It's like, it's all right. Just that's what happened, the fun got sucked out of the room, and whatever it is, And Tebow says he mentioned in Atlanta that we were a big inspiration to the videos. Oh, that's awesome! Thank you so much. And yes, it was one of the all-time great rants. And he loves Apple football, Tebow says, but he says it was a good rant. And it was, Do
you think that ID and Hal Richmond are on each other's Christmas card lists?
Well, ID gets rid of the seasons, and then he comes back and he buys them again, and then he did, was it wash, rinse, repeat?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but anyway, yeah. So we'll see what Brian says. I'd like to know, how did you two meet and start this journey? Okay, that's something we've talked about that a little bit before, but we'll go over it again.
Right.
What ended up happening was I was still playing video games back in, was it 2018? I think it was.
Yeah, we met. Yeah.
And had we started the show when I come up to see you?
You came up in September of 19, so we had just started the show.
All right, so we had, because we were going to record a podcast. Yeah, that's right. I remember that. We'd done the show for about a month. Okay. So what ended up happening is, I think it was back in 2018, I was looking to, I was getting away from video games because I just couldn't do them anymore. My hands just don't play video games that good anymore. And so I ended up. I remember I had. What was that football game there?
You played
Football Mogul. So I played Football Mogul. It's like, but this is fun. I want to see anything else like it. And I picked up Action PC Football. And I had a hard time. I couldn't even figure out how to get the game. I didn't know that you were supposed to click on the C to turn it to H. You know, I kind of jumped in without reading the directions, thinking I could just figure it all out. And so I was trying to learn how to play Action PC Football, and I went to YouTube and watched some videos. And it turns out Ron was in the middle of a project or a replay, and he was live a couple times a week doing it. And so I would tune into his channel, and I would watch him play the football game and talk about it. And I'd ask questions about this and that and the other thing because I was kind of frustrated with it. And he's like, oh, here's all you do. You do this, you do that, the other thing. So I got it up and running, and I would try playing with it in the whole bit. And every time he would go on with that game, because that's something I was trying to learn, I would go in and chat with him. And then he had the video the one time, and he said that, he was...
Walk off safety.
Oh, but I'm saying before that...
Oh, yeah.
You did the video. You were talking about the channel, and you're not sure, what direction the channel was going in. You didn't want to shut it down, and I ended up sponsoring his channel for a little while.
Yes, you did.
I said, let's talk about hockeytournaments.com sponsoring your channel, and just do a quick read or something like that. And I don't have much money, but I can give you something if that helps. And so he started doing that, and we started chatting, and then. I don't know, we just kind of hit it off, and we exchanged emails and just went back and forth like that. And then we started chatting on Facebook a little bit, or Gmail Hangouts or whatever it was. And,
Gmail, I think it was, yeah.
And then in the spring of 2019, I started a video series of Digital to Dice. And you can still find those out there. I think I did 3 or 4, where I just was talking about my journey from playing video games to rolling dice and playing sports sims like Action PC and things like that, and how different it was, but it's all new. It was like Christmas morning, because all these games are here that I'd never played, and some I never heard, a lot I never heard of, and I was just enjoying the thrill of it all. And so I was just cataloging my journey there. So it'd be fun to look back in a couple of years of how I made the transformation. And then somehow during the summer, we started talking about doing a podcast. And he said he'd do a couple episodes and see how it went. And we did a couple episodes, and it kind of went pretty well. I think we clicked better than we thought we would.
Yeah. It
just kind of, after the first couple of shows, it was, we weren't stumbling over each other. We weren't tripping over each other. It didn't feel awkward. It just went pretty well, and then we just kept doing them, and we didn't know where it was going to go. Let's just keep going, and we just kept going and talk about it and this and that, and then we got some feedback, and it just kind of grew, and every day we had new listeners, and we look and check on Spreaker, and it's like, oh, we had 20 listens, and next thing you know it was 100 listens, and next thing you know it was 300 listens, and it's like, holy cow, this thing is just kind of growing, and but that's how we met, and then. We were doing the show for about a month, and I took a ride up to Vermont to see him, actually. It was Labor Day weekend, I think.
Yeah, it was Labor Day weekend.
So it was September of 2019, yeah.
A gas leak, so there was no hot food the night you got here because there was the restaurants could cook. Yeah, we got to the hotel room, and I called him up. He's like, I was going to take you downtown, but downtown shut down because of was it a gas leak? Yeah, it was a gas leak, or gas was shut off or something. No, construction crew had pierced the gas pipe.
Yeah, so there was a lot of places that couldn't serve food. So we
Labor Day weekend. Town is full of tourists.
Yeah. So my wife and I ended up just going down to the hotel dining room because we're like, okay, this is great. We'll just go here because we can't go out because downtown was shut down, but the dining room at the hotel was still open. And we're sitting in there. Next thing you know, it filled up. And the waitress is like, sorry, we're kind of slammed because downtown shut down, so everybody's coming here for food. And I was just like, holy cow. Usually the dining rooms are pretty empty at a hotel, but it was full that night. But they got it fixed, and the next day we went up to his place and met him and went downtown and had some lunch and poked around and did some touristy things down there on Church Street. And I remember I went back to the hotel and I brought my Stratomatic hockey. So I had an older version of Strat hockey I bought off of eBay. So we went to his place and we played a little bit of Strat hockey.
You got a steal out of that. Was that like a second-year Strat or something like that? I mean, you got...
Yeah, I got two teams. I got Toronto and Pittsburgh from 77, 78.
Yeah, those are the original two.
And I think I paid $20 or $25 for this thing.
Yeah, you got yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that expensive at all, and that's just so we did a live show from his place. It was kind of funny. That was a Saturday night, so we did like a 20-minute live show from his place. We both got on camera at his place, and then that was it. I ended up going home the next morning. My diverticulitis was really bad that weekend. It was like really bad. In fact, that when I went home, I had to go back to the doctor. That's how bad it was. But that's kind of how we met. I took a ride up there, and I definitely want to get up there again and hang out again, and we'll play something as well and the whole bit. But we had good weather that weekend. I do remember that.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, you're right there on the lake, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of the story of how we did it.
I faced the wrong way.
You faced the wrong way?
I don't see the lake here. Oh, you can't really see. I faced the post office.
Oh, you go the other way, yeah. So you're facing, the way you're facing now, that's the lake, is where you're facing?
Yeah, look, the camera, if I'm looking at the camera, I'd be looking at the lake.
Oh, I see, okay.
If there wasn't several thousand walls between me and the windows for the lake. So
you'd have to start drilling some holes in the walls.
I would need to go, it's the other side of our apartment building.
Oh, yeah. So... But, all right, so Brian, what else you got to say here, Brian? I think your knowledge of sports and stats and understanding of how teams win would make great commentators. We would make great commentators for real sport. Have you thought about doing a real sports show?
I really don't watch enough real sports to do it. There's just things that follow because of friends of mine and things that I read. But as far as prepping to do what I think would be a decent job, I really don't care. I think would be the thing. I mean, yeah, we could probably pull it off. You sit there and read football stuff or read hockey stuff or whatever. But I don't. I think I've watched one basketball game all season. That was Game 7 of Celtics in Milwaukee, and no, I don't think we would do it justice.
I don't watch a lot of modern sports, so to speak. I mean, I do the play-by-play for the hockey, so that I do real sports. During the season, I do a lot of junior hockey in high school or whatever else is needed. Sometimes football games as well. But yeah, to sit down and say, hey, let's talk about the Red Sox or the Bruins or the National Football League. I don't follow along enough. In fact, even at night, I like to listen to Sirius XM Sports Talk at night, and I'll listen to CBS or whatever the things are. And they talk about all the players. I just don't know them all. I just don't follow it enough.
I used to do a golf show a few years ago, and that was fun, but that required a lot of work, and there's only so much you could talk about. But then again, when you get to real sports, there's a ton of people who talk about real sports.
Yeah.
So you just kind of...
Let's just say a bad suggestion, O'Brien says, do a pick 'em show, keep track, and see who wins at the end. That would be something like we could do.
We might do some of those for football season.
Yeah, do a football season thing, or maybe even in playoffs, baseball playoffs or whatever. Say, so who do you think's going to win this series? And we'll talk about it on the show. That could be kind of fun. I know a lot of radio stations and stuff do the pick 'em stuff, and they keep track.
Have you legally bet on games in Massachusetts yet?
Not yet. I think that's coming though. And I hope they do. I miss playing. When I was a kid, I played the football card. It was, I play $1 or $2. I never bet big. Maybe $10. That was a big bet for me. And I picked the 4 teams, and I think I won twice out of how many years I played. But it was just fun to sit and watch the game. That's what fantasy sports is now. Your fantasy football is your legalized gambling now.
Exactly. And I don't understand why I can put $5 on for someone throwing 4 touchdown passes, but I can't put $10 on the Giants and 5 points. I mean, really, what's the difference?
Yeah. I used to like picking against the spread. I did. I used to like saying, okay, it's New England and the Jets -2, or Washington, Dallas, even.
Because I probably would be more inclined to watch some of the things I don't necessarily watch if that actually had, quote unquote, a skin in the game.
Yeah. And I wouldn't bet. I'd bet $10-20. I'm not a big bettor. I hate. Yeah. But just for the fun of it, to go and throw $10 down and see if I could get 4 teams, I would absolutely do that. So yeah. And that would be a great way to start year 4, as Ray says. If he's talking about the pick 'em, that would be kind of fun. And Glenn says he played those cards too. He was gambling at 5. Oh yeah, My dad, my uncle would bring them home and let me play one, and I'd throw $1 down, and you win $10 if you got all 4 right. I never got them right. I just,
you know, one of the most bet on sports in the world.
Highlight? Is it highlight?
Tennis.
Tennis, really?
In Europe, they bet it's one of the biggest money makers is people betting on tennis matches.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Glenn says, set up a Digital to Dice NFL Pick'em group. That might be an idea. That might be an idea. Fun. Yeah, that could be kind of fun as a little group project. I used to do that. I would do the football and the fantasy hockey on the Yahoo, I think. And it was just to pick them. And there was no prizes. It was just for bragging rights. And then when fantasy football came along, nobody wanted to do my little fun thing. They wanted to throw $20 in and win a big fantasy trophy, you know. So. Ray was talking about your treatment for COVID with the extra large enema nobody knows that trick. Nobody knows that trick. Enemas get rid of COVID so fast.
Hey, that's what Aunt Becky said before she hit me over the head.
And Glenn says he bets on tennis all the time.
Oh, okay. Because Glenn plays the Dickens out at Time Travel Tennis. Oh, yeah. It's such a great game.
That's a fun one there, too. And, move to Michigan. Everything's legal in Michigan. That's what we hear.
Yeah.
Tommy, ball game. Do I still play ice hockey? How often? And if you do, is it the most fun sport to play? Let me see. I still play. I play roller hockey twice a week. And then I ref the same time. So I'll play, then ref, or ref, then play. And once or twice a week, definitely once a week, I referee ice hockey. So I don't play ice hockey anymore, but I do referee. In fact, tonight, I got to referee a game tonight as well. It's an odd Sunday night for me, but I'm more than willing to go into an ice hockey rink tonight. That's for sure. You think? It's still 93 degrees outside, and it's 7:36. That's how bad the heat is over here. So, of course, we've been holding off on doing our Year 4 kickoff show because of the heat, and we picked the hottest day to do it. We just ran out of time.
The day I got married, I think, was the only 85-plus degree day up that summer.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
John says he used to go to Vernon Downs horse racing when he lived in New York.
Ah, upstate. Yeah. Well, Saratoga started their season.
We used to. I used to go to the dogs. We had some dog racing around here.
Oh, up in Raynham, right, or down in Raynham?
No, it was Revere.
Oh, Revere.
And then Seabrook, New Hampshire.
Ah.
And I go, and I couldn't pick a dog to save my life. You know what I mean? But. And pesky Paul stopping by here. Gambling, did I hear gambling? I'm a gambling degenerate. I grew up with a bookie who worked in my grandfather's basement. My grandfather would get a piece of the action.
And no gambling. Is Ron watching Shoresy? No,
we need to get Ron watching Shoresy. It's a very funny hockey show. The more you watch it, the funnier it gets. It's just that type of show. But so great suggestions here on what we're going to do in Year 4. I think definitely, more talking about what we're playing, more doing new games, maybe small game reviews, or reviews as we kind of do, and we just talk about the new stuff there. We definitely want to do some playing head-to-head, or at least playing co-op, or whatever it is we got to do to play and do some things like that, whether it's on Patreon or whether it's on YouTube or something like that. Anything to do with the gaming there, I mean, because like I said, we do. And Ron brought up the great point earlier that, we eat what we cook. We play these games. We're not just reporting on them. We're not just people on the outside talking about it. We actually play these games, and so that's something when we talk about and. We talk about what we play, and I think that's important. We talked about you can tell, like, if you ever go to a video game channel on YouTube or something like that, you can tell the people that don't play them, and they're just reporting on them and reading a script, and then you can tell the people that do play these things, and it's a huge difference. And I think that because we do play all the games and we talk about them, that it's a very, I think what we do is a very relatable show. And we'll get comments all the time about, I had the same thing happen to me, or here's how I did this, and things like that. So I think it's important for us.
And there's a zillion different ideas out there, and there's no, because if you watch YouTube videos, just the highlights or whatever, something's going to spur you.
Yeah.
In fact, I watched something last night, and I thought of you.
Okay.
They talked about the worst offense in NFL history in the Super Bowl era. And I immediately thought of you when I watched it.
Was it the $77?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
It is like, wow, because everyone talks about the $76 and how bad they were and all the knee injuries. I didn't realize that. But there's a KTO, I think, is a channel. And he did 15 minutes on the $77.
Yep, they were actually worse. Yep.
It's kind of like when you talk about the 73 Dolphins, that they were probably better than the undefeated 72 Dolphins. But because they went undefeated, people talk about 72.
Right.
I had no idea that the $77 were actually worse, noticeably worse on offense than the $76.
Yeah. Yep, it was. And I didn't realize either. And I watched that. And I'm like, holy cow, he's making a lot of sense with the points that he's bringing up here. So.
And the 74 Falcons weren't that much better.
Brian says he'd like to know a little bit about more us growing up and families and stuff like that. It's like, I think that would be more of a Patreon thing. When we're going to go and we'll talk about some of the more personal things in our life. It's probably not for everyone per se.
That people really care that much, but yeah.
But there's a few things that when I look back on that I did as a kid. It's funny how they relate to what I'm doing today. I used to play different sports games with the little action figures.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 40 some years.
And there's I used to do drawings of hockey and now it kind of ties into what I'm doing now, just on a grander scale. But I remember doing that stuff as a kid. That's stuff that we could definitely talk about. And Brian says, we built a connection with us guys. We never met, and I look forward to your shows. Yeah, thank you, Brian. And we hear that a lot. But the connection goes both ways here. It's because I've listened to podcasts before, and I've listened to the host, and you listen for years of a podcast, and you do feel like a connection with them. And every now and then you talk to them on an email or something like that, and so you develop a relationship with them. And we get that. We haven't. We haven't met a lot of you guys. It's been through chats like this and Facebook posts and Delphi posts that we converse with you guys, and we don't meet hardly anybody face to face. But we get emails and comments all the time about the connection that we have as a family. Whatever you want to call it. And it goes both ways because we get that same feeling from the community. It's like we don't feel like we're doing this show and then we like in a vacuum, as they say. We get a lot of feedback on the show. Most of it is positive. Okay, well, occasionally we get the curmudgeons. It happens. It's the internet. We get it.
Hello, Skip.
But for the most part, it's pretty positive because we try to keep a positive show. Now, we don't like every game we play, so most of the curmudgeons is, oh, you don't like this game, you're a bad person, and you're blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, well, whatever. But yeah, the connection that we've made with a lot of people, and even here tonight in the chat room, that's what keeps us going because we do these shows and we get the feedback. If we got no feedback and no emails and no comments. And then we'd feel like, well, why are we doing this? No one's listening. Nobody cares. But we can do this show. We get the comments. That generates ideas for more shows. And it's all about a discussion. That's what this whole thing's been about. It's been about a discussion. We want to talk to you. We want you to talk to us. We want to learn from you, and you can learn from us, and just whatever we can do to make our gaming experience better. Is kind of what this whole podcast was about. Let's talk about something that we really like.
See, I don't get the sense that this hobby is dying. It may be changing, but I don't get the sense that the hobby is dying. I think one of the things that we both feel very strongly about is trying to encourage the community to grow. I just other hobbies that I do, and ham radio. And if you ever go onto a ham radio message board, anytime between now and 1965, it's all about you whippersnappers don't do it the way that I do it. The hobby's going to be dead in 6 weeks. Well, here we go. 50 years later, and it's the same stuff over and over again. No, I think that it may be changing, but I definitely don't think it's dying. And as people get older, they're going to become more nostalgic, just like Dave did. They're like, really? I can play Tom Brady's seasons?
Right.
I don't need to play Mac Jones on Madden? No, you can play all of Tom Brady stuff. You can be Steph Curry. You can be Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
So It's all there for you.
Tebow says we should bring the wives on. No, that's not going to happen.
I think Sarah would not want to be on camera.
Yeah, I don't think mine would be either. She doesn't really know what I do. She doesn't care less about what. She'd never come on the video game show, so she played video games, so she's not coming on this one. Yeah. Glenn says he used to make up games with his Topps card. It all starts somewhere. Yeah, I remember as a kid. Hang on.
Had a stack of them. Yeah.
All right. I remember as a kid being in my apartment building, and the upstairs neighbor, we laid out my baseball cards, and we would play a baseball game, and we look at the back of the pitcher card, and he had all these numbers on him, right? And so whatever the first number was the first inning. And then we look at the batter and flip over the batter card, and whatever his first number was the first. So if the pitcher had a 4 and the batter had a 5, that's a 1. That was a single or something like that. However we did it was all about that. Now, I was so young that I didn't realize that, boy, if my pitcher's got a 1, he's going to get smacked around here. You know what I mean? But we would just play happy-go-lucky with baseball cards. Like Glenn was saying. He played a game with his Topps cards, and we did too. And I don't remember how it was. I was probably 5 at the time, but I remember trying to do something with baseball cards and just something just to have some fun, because there was no video games back in 1974. At least nothing that we could play. So, I mean, we would find ways to do that. I remember taking the hockey players for my birthday cake and playing so many games of, Stanley Cup hockey on my table. It just kind of happened. So, in a way, it was really fun back then, getting creative with a lot less. It really was. It really was. And Pesky Paul, we need a 7-part 30 for 30 documentary on Ron and Dave. Yeah, there we go.
No, we don't.
Is it Digital to Dice behind the music?
That's right. Let me tell you another thing about Gardner.
Are there any gaming conventions that we go to?
No.
Ron doesn't travel that much. I was supposed to go to a Hockey Blast event probably back in 2018, maybe even 2019, that was in Massachusetts. Problem was, it was on a Saturday, and I work all Saturday, and it was an hour away. Probably closer to 2 hours with the traffic. So I would either have to take the day off, because if I tried to go even right when I get out of work, I might have got there when they were done. And at the time, I couldn't shut down an entire day of work at the rink to go to it. So sadly, I missed it. And it turned out the day they had it, even though I was going to sneak out, I ended up getting really sick, too. I had a really bad cold, whatever it was. It was before the COVID. And so I never made it. But I wanted to go to one. It was a hockey one. I was going to learn how to play Hockey Blast, and I never went to that one. So Glenn says the connection with you both in this community is one of the favorite things. Yeah, I mean, and I think one of our better shows was You're Not Alone.
Yeah.
And, when we can do this, we can talk about the games we play and talk about, which ones we like and which ones we've tried and things that happened during our game. And just, we're not alone sitting here in the basement just playing our game, that we can talk about these experiences. And that's how we share it. Because let's face it, there's not many people in my family or my circle of friends that give a care about anything I do.
Exactly.
So I have to go outside my circle so I can talk to people and get excited about things. I mean, that's why you see me come on here sometimes at crazy hours and talk about something that just happened. I want to talk about it, but I can't give my buddy a call and say, "Hey, guess what? I'm playing this Bruins game and they're up 6-1 in the second and they lost to Vancouver." He's like, "What are you talking about?" You know what I mean? But I can get on here and say, "You wouldn't believe it. I rolled snake eyes 10 times in a row. The Canucks came back. They scored 5 in a row. They beat me, or the Spiders did this." And I can come on here and talk about it. And you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. When I talk to friends and relatives, I don't even talk to them about it. Seriously. They don't know anything about what I do, and they could care less. But you guys, the community, does this, you know. And so, yeah, the connection we have is it's like our lifeline. Is what it is when we want. Ron will, call me during the day. He's like, you won't believe what happened.
Every once in a while, I'll send you something, on Strat where
something
go on a 1.
Yeah.
And you roll a 1.
Yeah, I got the 1. I lost the game, or I had to go 1 to 19. I got to go. I roll a 20, and what are the chances? And so.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Tebow writes in, my wife and I talk about you both like you are friends down the street. Yeah, I think that's kind of how it feels. It kind of, we haven't met, and a lot of us will never meet, except at these conventions here. And for me, it's hard to get away because I work crazy hours. So for me, I can't really fly on the weekends or whatever. So I'm kind of stuck.
I think the YouTube and Twitch and these type of things really are the same things as conventions. It's just a one-way conversation.
And that's why we have guests on the show. So we can meet people, talk to them here on StreamYard, and get to know them. They can know us, and then introduce them to the community through our show. And that works out so well. I mean, it really does. So that's kind of how we do our meeting, is kind of this online things like that. Krista writes in, he loves the show because we basically are ourselves. Keep being yourself. He loves the honest opinions and help me decide whether I want to broadcast using these games. Yeah, and that's the thing is it is kind of like just talk.
I think it's tempting to get into being a character, but I don't think you do this very long if you're not yourself.
Yeah. No, don't get us wrong. We do rib each other.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's all in good fun. I mean, nothing that we do is meant to hurt the other person. Seriously, right. Everything we do when we give each other, the good ribbing on the show, it's all good-natured, and he'll bust my chops and I'll bust his about something or other, and it's just kind of, it's guys having a beer is what it is. It's kind of what is what we do here. So, I think that comes across because I've listened to shows where people go into character, and then you see them afterwards, and they're like, "Wow, they're way, way different than I expected."
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not a bad thing because sometimes people can be real jerks just to try to get an audience and stir people up, and then you see them afterwards, and they're totally not like that. And you're like, "Wow, you're doing all this just to put on a show." And get clicks and likes.
It works for Colin Coward.
Yeah, it works for a lot of people,
Not for me.
So I prefer just to be myself because that way you can never get caught off guard.
Exactly.
You can never get caught off guard. If you're just yourself, then you're yourself in the whole bit. Let me see. And VL123 says, I first got Stratomac in 88, 89 when he was 14. I wish I did. I wish I got into it back then, And are there any gaming conventions for this hobby? I know there's a lot of war gaming conventions. Yeah, I mean, you got APA has theirs, and
APA does a couple official ones. They just finished their one up in Atlanta, and was a Chicagoland tournament for APA over the weekend. I'm not sure Kurt Bergman, I think, was part of. Yeah. APA's there are Strat tournaments. If you're not friends if you're on Facebook, Laura Strat. Get a hold of her. She would know it's there for Strat.
Play has their big PlayCon that
Keith Avalone. Yep. They move their PlayCon around a lot too.
I think it's pretty consistent out in Colorado.
Oh, is it? No,
yeah, I think Steve Tower's on his way out there, and probably Al Wilson and a few other people. But yeah, they have the convention out there, and that's a big deal out there too for Play.
Get a hold of people who run these games, and they'll tell you how to do that. And you can run your own if there's other people locally, depending on what part of the country you're in. That may or may not be interested in doing something like that. Mm-hmm. I know APA is probably the best about doing that. Plays pretty good, and of course with the pandemic you really couldn't advertise too much for. I know there's some Strat tournaments. Strat, Adam is running the show now, and I think they're being a lot more proactive for that sort of thing.
I think Delphi, there's a lot advertised on Delphi, too. So if you go there,
Yeah.
those are the hardcore people there. So John says he was introduced to Strat baseball and football in 1978. That's one of my favorites. 78, 79, 80 were my big years. Mark says, I remember getting games in boxes of Pop-Tarts that you would play using a deck of cards. Started a lifetime of playing sports games.
There you go.
That's pretty cool. P-Jet stopping by, the
doing?
second biggest Seals fan on the East Coast. Good to see you, P-Jet. Thanks for coming by. Pesky Paul stopping by. He says, exactly. I felt I was the only one who played these games that would do my own commentary in my head or out loud. I feel more normal now. Oh, Pesky Paul, you have no idea what goes.
I think a lot of us felt that way.
I especially not so much computer, but when I do the cards and dice, I am always doing the play-by-play, either out loud or in my head. It's like, okay, roll the dice. All right, so it's all right. Bobby he's going to get a shot on net. His shot, it's in range. Can Esposito make the save? Esposito makes the save. Oh, but the rebound goes over to Busick, and Busick scores. Oh, yes. I am commentating the entire time, but mostly with the cards and dice. When I'm on the tabletop, I do that. When I'm on the computer, sometimes I'm just kind of kicking back, and I get the mouse up and the feet up, and I'm just kind of taking it easy, so I'm not really doing that play-by-play. But when I'm doing the tabletop stuff, I think I'm always looking at that. I really am. I'm always doing that in my head. The play-by-play. So, and he liked the Games Unfinished Project show.
Yeah, you did a whole chat with the unfinished projects.
Yeah. There's so many unfinished products. You know what I mean?
Yes. But the other point that Pesky Poe was making too, when I found the Delphi forums, 98, 99, 2000, somewhere in there, I was stunned that people still played that stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see what does David say here. After the time you have spent on digital dice games, you have a bucket list of games a season you haven't played. Probably, I would imagine.
Probably.
Yeah, there's tons of projects. Yeah, there's tons of projects that I want to do, and every day, I see more that I want to do. I mean, again, you turn on the TV or you get on YouTube and you see a clip of something. And I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and somebody will post a picture of a goalie. I'm like, okay, now I have to play that game. I don't know if it's app or whatever.
I'm still waiting for you to do the David Gardner replay, since you're the one that actually had an NHL player that shares the same name as you.
Yeah, but he was such an average player on such bad teams, it would be a very disappointing
There has
replay.
never been a Jucket that played professional sports.
Yeah.
I have no professional sports role models when it comes to my name.
Tebow says that's what makes the Apper a 4-day convention so awesome. You eat, drink, spend time with 75 guys who know the hobby, and these chats are really like the conventions. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like face-to-face, but this is the best we can do here. So
yeah.
PJet says, Keith from Play used to do periodic meetups in different parts of the country besides Colorado.
In Boston that you were talking about too, right?
Yeah. I don't think Keith was at that one, though. I think that was just kind of a...
was Sam there? His son?
I don't remember. I know Steve Tower was there, I think. But again, that was going back probably 3 years ago. Because I was just getting into it. I think we just started.
It really was. You were going to try to get there, but it was late. It just didn't.
So I couldn't get there and do that. Scoop says he started with Status Pro Baseball in 1980. That's a great year. And PJet said a friend introduced him to Strat Baseball in 1929, PJet?
It was before I was born, regardless.
1969. Bernard said he first played Apple Baseball in 1962. First computer baseball games in 1980 on the Apple II. Yeah. Yeah, holy cow, the Apple II.
That was my first computer, was an Apple II.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I never had an Apple of any kind. I really didn't. Let me see. VL says, I got back into OOTP, even though I said I wasn't going back.
With that price point, you really,
You get all the seasons with Out of the Park Baseball. You do. And the animations are fantastic. And now it's you can change the angles now, and you can change the size of the players, and you can really, really get into that there. I haven't played that as much.
It's the ultimate sandbox. It really is.
I just find that it's too busy for me. For me, I mean, I need to kind of ease into it, and I have played it, and I even set up my own fictional league in that, and I was having some fun with that. But it's just it's a big deal to play that game. I mean, if you've been playing it for a long time, it's not. But for me, I find that game is very, very difficult, you know. And, I Ray says, I do the play-by-plays, and Benoit Benny Brodeur, he does the colors. That's from Shorzy. What does Scoop say? He had 80 status pro basketball. That's interesting. He would get mad at his friend because he didn't understand the stamina rating. Kareem took 20 shots in the first quarter, and he just played by himself after that. Yeah, I could see how that would be kind of a bummer, you know. And, yes, Ron does sound like Vin Scully, and it's like going back in time. Yep, he just does, you know. And I don't think he means to. I just think that's the way it comes out.
Just go through and do that.
You know, and I do the same with hockey. I have my influences that I've watched do hockey in the past, and that's just kind of how it comes out of me. And it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and this is kind of how it happens, you know.
Al Michaels has made an entire career sounding like Vin Scully.
yeah, he has. Pesky Pole says NFL Network does those specials on past Super Bowl teams. He watches it, and he immediately starts a new project. Yep, that's how we do it. You know. P-Jet said he drove 21 hours with a friend to the Strat convention in Indiana in '78. Wow. I wonder what kind of car that was in. Was that a '70? Was that a Dodge Dart AMC Pacer? You know?
Dash Rambler.
Yeah, I wonder what that was.
There you go.
A Steeler fan, his first game was 1985 Stratomatic baseball, which you got at a sporting goods store in April of 1987.
They used to sell them in the stores in those days. I bought my first Strat, came in a KB toy store.
Yeah, they used to sell that, right? Yep, they used to sell that.
So anyway. Happened there too, but it wasn't all mail order. It was all
yeah. So I sound like Shorzy now. Yeah, so 3 years of Digital to Dice in the can, so to speak. Again, our new website, digitaltodice.com. It points to a new site, I should say. We've always had that, but that now goes to a bigger and better website. We do have the Facebook group over there, facebook.com/groups. That's Digital to Dice.
1,100.
Yeah, 1,100 people there if you're on Facebook. If not, you'll see us, over on the Delphi groups once in a while. So there's that. Again, if you'd like to donate to the show to help pay for the monthly bills, and there are monthly bills that come with doing the shows, the videos and the audio shows, we have a PayPal donation here, paypal.me/.
Don't make us do the art auctions, okay?
Yeah. Don't make us get in the hot tub.
Chet and Ned aren't coming out back to auction off the artwork.
Yeah, I do have a Venmo. It's a business Venmo account if you'd like to donate that way too. Just help us pay the bills. You know, anything would help at all. And again, if you'd like to be a Patreon member, patreon.com/digitaltodice. And we'd like to thank all our Patreon members who have joined up to help pay the bills over here. Thank you so much there. So, again, just ways you can help out with the show. That's all. PJ said it was a beat-up station wagon that they went across country. Is it the Queen family truckster? Was that what it is?
With the wood paneling on the side, there you go.
Yeah.
4 gallons per mile.
And Pesky Paul says he's loving Ron's 85 season because he sounds like Vin Scully, likes the 80s baseball. Yeah, it is. It's fun going back and then having Ron do that and the whole bit. So it's really kind of cool. So
the 1 year the Red Sox overachieved.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so we're gonna kind of wrap the show up here in the next few minutes. We just kind of wanted to get on tonight and say hello to everybody. It's actually cooling down a little bit now. It says I got rain coming. I don't know how much I believe that or not. So we'll find out if we can get a little bit of rain to cool down here up on the East Coast. It was kind of
doesn't seem as hot in here. It says 80, but it feels like it's cooling off outside. So.
Yeah, the sun's going down. That does help. Yeah. So again, we wanted to do this last Wednesday, then last Thursday, then last Friday, then last Saturday. Now it's Sunday night, so we're finally getting to this.
Do this again. I'm going to start putting the cookie sheets out here with cookies and bake them.
Did you see the picture? Somebody put a picture on Facebook of people with cookies, and they put it on the dashboard in their car.
National Weather Service actually told people how to bake lasagna in their cars, in their mailboxes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's that hot. You know, you can go crack an egg. I think I did that one year when I cracked an egg on the sidewalk just to see what it would do, you know. Glenn says he played Action PC basketball game a couple weeks ago. Lost by 2. His team went 12 and 16 from the free throw line. The other team went 42 and 43.
Oh, my God.
All he could think of was my Apple hockey game. Have I gone back yet? I always go back, but yeah, when you have a bad game like that, I think it might have been, was it Apple or was it Hockey Bones that happened to, where it was everything went one way, and it just was, yeah, I think it was Hockey Bones where they got 5 scoring chances, and they scored on 4 of them, and I got 3 the entire game, and it took me to the third period to get a shot in range. Yeah, that was the Quebec game in Hockey Bones where nothing was in range. And if it's not in range, you can't score. And so you go 2.5 periods before you even have a chance at a score. That was frustrating. It really was. And I'm rolling the dice, so I can't blame anybody but me. I can't blame the game. I can't blame the computer. That was me. And we've had those, you know, I have those all the time, you know, in different games. And you got to step away because you get mad at it. You do. As stupid as it sounds, and these are supposed to be fun, you do get mad. You do get mad at it, you know? And so you got to walk away because you're all, you know, steaming at what happened.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, that's what closets are for.
You know, and that's why I really enjoy playing neutral games. Okay, when I play a neutral game and that happens, then I don't care. If I play, like I say, any Boston team or a Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that happens to them, I do get upset because I want them to win. Let's just face it. You play your favorite teams, you want your favorite team to win. When they don't, it does get angry. Tommy Ball Game. I prefer listening to games on the radio over watching. I must say, Ron's games, he's good. It makes you feel like you were there. Yeah, I'm the same way. I love radio. In fact, the whole Stanley...
Baseball's a radio sport.
The whole Stanley Cup. I was playing Hockey Bones over on Studio A, and I had my iPad on, and I had the NHL app open. So it showed you the score and the stats, and I had the radio feed going. So I listened to all the games. I think, like, when it got late in the game, if it was close, I'd jump onto the TV. But I would listen for 2.5 periods and have that on in the background. And even going to bed at night, you know, the first couple rounds of the playoffs, and every night there was 3 games. It was great going to bed and listening to games because I did that as a kid. So I agree with you, Tommy. I love listening on the radio. Certain things I love listening on the radio way more than I do watching them. You know, because you can just walk around. You can have it on your headphones or just, you know, have it on the radio. You don't got to be glued to the TV. You can be doing other things. So I was able to play my games and have the game on the radio. You know, whereas if I'm watching on TV, I'm going to be glued. You know, I'm going to be watching, and I'm not going to be playing my game. So, yeah, yes, rain this time of year seems like a lottery win. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, Robbie. Head something. I'm not sure how to say that.
Tennessee.
Heads up, Tennessee. Okay. Sorry about that. Congratulations on starting the 4th year. Keep out the outstanding podcast and best of health. Thank you so much for that. Yes, we're hoping to keep on going as we kick off year 4. It's weird. Year 5 is going to be weird. That's going to be a long time. Starting year 5 is going to be even weird. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it. Let's do year 4 first. PJ says he listened to Seals games from Oakland on all the East Coast teams' radio stations, staying up till 1 a.m. on a school night. Yeah, I used to like that with the Bruins. I used to try to sneak up and watch the Bruins at night when they played out west, but, of course, I never could. But the old transistor radio under the covers would come in kind of handy, you know.
Every once in a while, because the Rangers were on WNBC, and of course they would up and down the East Coast. It'd be Marv Albert, who like Marv Albert yet, and Sal Red Light Messina.
See, that's why I really like the Rangers, because when I grew up, I could listen to the Bruins on the radio, and I got a lot of Ranger games too. And so I grew up listening to, you know, Hatfield and Kachuk and Rattel and all those guys, Park. And so I grew up listening to the Rangers, too, along with the Bruins. Those are the 2 I could get. Occasionally I could pick up Detroit, but it would have to be a really solid night for me to get Detroit. But aside from that, I couldn't really pick up anybody else. I remember picking up the Kitchener Rangers a few times. That was kind of neat. Because, like, oh, what game's this? Oh, it's Kitchener Rangers. And this is all before the internet when you actually had to have the antennas going the right way, you know?
Yeah, now your satellite radio gets you everything.
Yeah, now you get everything. But it was fun back in the day because I remember, like, hanging the antennas all over the apartment trying to see what games I could get in the whole bit. I had this one boombox as a kid. And it had, like, detachable speakers, and you carried it. It was one of those there. And that AM radio was just, it was so good. That's the one I got the Detroit game on. I remember one night, and it would fade in and out occasionally, but for the most part, it was Steve Eisman, rookie season. And I think he had a hat trick and 2 goals shorthanded one game. It's just like, holy cow, this Eisman guy is really good. But I picked it up on that silly radio there. I picked up everything, you know. So... And Glenn says one of the greatest things living in the Detroit area is getting CBC on the TV and Hockey Night in Canada every Saturday night and all the playoff games. Yeah, I guess you could. When I was younger, probably 88, 89, I lived in a town that had a pretty good cable system, and they had the French channel, and we would get French-speaking hockey games on Saturday night.
Soirée de hockey.
Yep, it was pretty good. And Glenn says WJR. Detroit was incredibly powerful.
The year that the Twins beat the Tigers, we didn't have any power for that playoff series. So I listened to Ernie Harwell in amazement call that Twins win,
Nice. P-Jet says the Capitals and the Flames, Atlanta Flames, had 50 watt stations. Yep, came in crystal clear. Yes, it did. Tony, hey, thanks for coming by, Tony. He said, I used to listen to Blackhawks Hockey Night on AM radio here in Raleigh. Yep. I don't think I could get the Blackhawks from where I was. No, I don't think I ever did. I think it was just the Rangers, the Bruins, and Detroit. I don't think I remember getting too much else. So, and Jeremy says he's close to Kitchener.
To Kitchener, okay.
Okay, that's
so the Rangers, yep.
No, I'm not officiating high school hockey tonight. I do have to wrap up here shortly. I am going to do a men's league game tonight. Air quotes, men's league.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
In the mid-'80s,
yep.
Back when they still played music on AM radio, the Mets flagship was 1050 WHN.
Oh, wow.
Which shared the frequency with Chum out of Toronto.
Oh, wow.
Which was top 40. And so you could hear Bob Murphy painting the word picture as the Mets were becoming really good. And so it would be, ground ball to third, over to first, and behind it would be Madonna. Cheers!
That's great. David, thanks for coming by. He says, great live chat tonight. Thank you for sharing your time with us tonight. Have a great night. And yes, thank you so much. You too. Yeah, we'll be wrapping up shortly there. Again, we're kind of live streaming here tonight as we celebrate 3 years in the books, so to speak. And we're going to be
year 4.
And we start off year 4 again. There's ways you can help donate to keep the channel going and the show going. And we'll put in. So if you're listening on the podcast, it's probably not one of our best podcast episodes because we're doing a lot of chatting and a lot of visual stuff here on YouTube. But at least you can kind of hear what happened because we know not everybody watches on YouTube. So we like to put out both once in a while. And we didn't do a show this week anyway, so. This really just kind of gets a show out for us as well, and you get to, like I say, some people we don't know where everybody listens. Some people some people listen on Zune still. Remember that Zune thing we talked about? That's what's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's true. That's I think the weirdest one, Zune.
Yeah, it was. Who was talking about the? What was I going to say? Oh, I used to like to listen to baseball at night in the summertime. It'd be a night like this. It'd be super hot, and I'd spend the night. We used to spend time at our grandparents' house, and they were down by the water, so it was kind of cool. And I just had the one window in the bedroom, and I would go to bed at night, and I used to like to listen to the Texas Rangers games, like when Boston was in Texas. I don't know why. I just remember, like, I would go to bed at night on a Saturday night or whatever it was and have the game on and just Boston and Texas. And it was just so relaxing. You could hear, like, a little bit of the crowd noise in the background, and there's just – and ball one. And then you hear, and it was just very relaxing as a kid to listen to the ball game on the radio, especially at night, And playing in Texas, I think it was an hour or two difference, so they would start later. So if
8:30 first pitch, usually.
Yeah, if I go to bed, if we were going to bed at 9:30 or 10, let's say, the game still had plenty of innings to go. It really was. So, yeah, and Ron singing Madonna is a show by itself. Yes, it is.
Wanting. Waiting, needing. for you to justify my love.
PJ said he listened to the Caps garbage pail game versus the Seals and it killed him. I don't remember that one there. Did you replay that? PJ, you got to replay that. Pick a game and replay the garbage pail game.
Similar to the Mickey Mouse game?
It might have been, yeah. So, VL, thanks. Congrats on
onward and upward.
Onward and upward as we start year 4 here tonight. Yep. And Todd B dropping by saying happy anniversary. Thank you so much. And Tony, again, here's to a great year 4. Yep. And I tell you, I wish we brought more energy tonight, but geez, I tell you, it's.
Oh, well, it's 80, 81 here.
This was the hottest day out of all of them, but we had to get it done this weekend, so that's why we did it tonight. Again, it was 95 outside just a few minutes ago, and it's still a little after 8 over here. So we want to hear from you again as we wrap things up here on YouTube and also as well as the podcast. What do you guys think about the last 3 years? What would you like to see going forward in year 4? Again, because you guys listen to the show, so it's important to know what you guys want to hear and what you want to listen to, and things that we can talk about. So, and again, we feed off the community a lot.
Absolutely.
So we'll come up with stuff here and talk about whatever, but something will happen in the community, and
even in our individual streams, we hear stuff all the time.
Yeah. But it's fun discovering, new games in the whole bit as Matt McKeever drops by, speaking of new games.
Pocket Pennant Run.
Exactly right. So we love having people like that on the show as we talk about new games and discuss them in the whole bit. And I'm dying to see where that game goes. I really am. That's such a fun game. I need to play more of that. I'm going to put a nickel in the jar. I need to play more of that. It's another game I need to play more of. But they're still working on that, and they've taken a lot of suggestions to the community, and I can't wait to see where that game goes, because that game's fun as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, I can see where that might go. And the basketball game too. It's by Brian. I forget his last name now. I've been talking to him on Facebook, and he's come out with a basketball game that is
the creator of On Base Baseball.
Yes. And his basketball game is shaping up to be the shootout hockey of basketball games, And so, and Craig Harris, the other half of Pocket Pennant Run, stops by.
There we go.
Welcome to year 4.
Wow.
So we got them both on here tonight. That's great.
People wanted conventions. Well, here you go.
And Matt said he's got a new edition coming soon. That's great.
Nice.
That's great. That was so fun, And I actually printed out a Spiders game for that. So I'm going to be playing some Cleveland Spiders on there. I think it goes back to the Spiders. I think it does 1899. I'm pretty sure that because it's the older set.
They're just all D's, you know that.
Oh yeah, but I'm going to play some Spiders on Pocket Pennant Run. That's going to be great, P-Jet says the garbage pail game, the Caps' first season when they won their first road game was on the last game of the season in Oakland. And they lifted a garbage pail in the locker room like the Stanley Cup. Okay. So they won one game on the road, and it was against the Seals that year. Okay, I get it.
Would that be the very definition of seal clubbing?
Oh, they clubbed the Seals. Where are you?
Yep.
There you go. We'll give you that.
Thank you. I'll be here all the week. Tip your waitress kindly.
Gandalf stopping by here. Love the show. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And Robbie says, you want to hear Richard Hanna be badgered, make a hockey game. I do, too. I want to see a Richard Hanna hockey game. I need a hockey game that I can input stats and play along on the computer. I mean, there's so many good baseball and basketball games and football games that I need a good hockey game like that. So, but anyway, all righty. So, again, we look forward to your comments and your suggestions for year 4 of Digital to Dice. Holy guacamole. It's been 3 full years. We're starting on year 4.
Years.
And we keep talking about that. We met so many good...
I was a veritable kid when we started. He's aged me a lot.
That's right. We met so many good people on the way.
Yes, we certainly have.
The Sports Sim magazine started with St. Patrick. We've met some great game designers. We've had some old game designers, some new games on as well. It's been really fun to do all that and talk to authors and the whole bit. I want to do more authors too.
The authors I find really fun.
I love talking to people about their sports book and the whole bit. And Vail said, did anybody watch the Hall of Fame show? No, I didn't watch that today.
No, Ortiz got in.
Yeah, that's great. Good for David. So, and to put all those links in YouTube about where you can get them out. Yeah, we're going to put in some links here after the show.
Yeah, take care of that.
Yeah, so we'll do that. But anyway, so all righty. Well, Ron, I want to thank you for 3 great years.
It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
I look forward to. I like the pickup stuff. Let
me write that down here. Hang on a second. Why did they ever do that back in the day? When they take the pen and they put it on their tongue
to start it.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I can never figure that out. I always saw that in the Three Stooges. Hang on, let me write this down. You know, I got a fountain pen that writes under whipped cream. Remember that episode, the fountain pen that writes under whipped cream?
I think I saw that in a Klingon Battleship magazine once. Girls of the Big Ten.
That was an episode of the Three Stooges. I had a dream that we invented a pen that wrote under whipped cream. That was a funny Stooges episode. Don't know why I ever thought about that. But yeah, we're going to put all the links and how you can help support the show in the description and on our podcast as well. And we'll release this probably tomorrow, the next day, out on Spreaker, so you'll have the audio version of this. So in case you missed this here, you can just listen to the audio version. But anyway, so year 4 coming up for Digital to Dice. Hopefully, we're still going to go strong into the future.
Only average 48 shows a year, so
into the future. Oh, that's that. Go ahead.
Number 2, Monty. I'll take door number 2.
Door number 2. What was that? Let's make a deal.
Yeah, let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal. That's right. I need new sound effects. There. That way we can really ham this up over here. But so anyway, I like the pick 'em idea too. Yeah, we'll have to get that going for football season.
Yeah, I like that one.
Maybe even baseball postseason too. We'll do something like that. So anyway, all right. So Ron, stay tuned. We'll wrap up the show on the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, we're signing off. If you're watching on Facebook, we're signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking out as we wrap up year 3. We go into year 4, and we just want to come on live and thank everybody. We don't go on live as much as we used to, but for special events like this, we will. Even on a really hot day, we're coming to you.
All right.
So we'll talk to everybody later on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, so if you're listening on the podcast, we're just going to wrap this up right now. As we kick in the music, let's kick this off, Ron. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, by the numbers. What's this been, 144?
It's the gross show.
Yeah, so
the grossest weekend of the year.
Is that what a gross is? 12 times 12?
12 dozen is a gross.
The only time I remember buying anything in gross was firecrackers as a kid. No joke, because we had a friend.
I would think that would be one of the rare things that you would buy by the gross. Yeah.
Because as kids, it was the guy would be like, "Oh yeah, I can sell you some firecrackers, but it's X amount for a gross." I'm like, "What the hell is a gross?" It's like, "Oh, it's 12 packs of 12." So, oh, okay, so I don't need that many, but yeah, we used to buy it by the gross. Or he used to buy it by the gross. But anyway, ways to get a hold of us: digitaltodice.com is the website. Let me see. What else can you get a hold of us here? I'm unprepared. Text line 978-751-DICE, 978-751-3423. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. Facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice, and over on Patreon, patreon.com/digitaltodice as well. In the description, I will put links to the Venmo and the PayPal if you'd like to help contribute to the show to keep us going in year 4. If you guys would be so inclined to help us out, purely voluntary, but it would help us pay the bills over here. And there are some bills. It's not free, unfortunately. So, but anyway, I think it help. If you guys could help offset those bills, we can keep going here with Digital to Dice. So I'm Dave.
I'm Ron.
And until next time, year 4, here we come.
Woohoo! Bye-bye.